the still point within. Presence holds the entire state. This is the 7-minute daily focus, day 32 of 365. Be still and think only of the truth you intend to see appear. Today's focus, the still point within. Presence holds the entire state. Presence is not movement. Presence is not emotion. Presence is not reaction. Presence is the stabilizing center of your metaphysical position. If identity is who you are and subjective state is the atmosphere you hold, then presence is the still point that anchors both. Hill wrote, "The quiet mind is master of circumstances." I concur with refinement. Presence stabilizes the state that instructs appearance. Pause for a moment, close your physical eyes, shift into the first sense. Notice inwardly, there is a point within you that does not move, a center that does not shake, a stillness that does not drift. That point is presence. Presence does not ask the physical world what is happening, it informs the physical world of what already is. Presence does not gather evidence, it holds actuality. Presence does not seek reassurance, it is the reassurance. Wattles wrote, "Stand in the quiet certainty of your thought. I concur with elevation. Stand in the quiet presence of actuality. Understand this principle with precision. Reality equals the subjective state, whole, completed, actual. Identity equals the self within that reality. Presence equals the still point that holds identity steady. Subjective state equals the atmosphere generated by presence. And appearance equals the physical translation of that atmosphere. Thus, presence holds the entire state. Presence determines the quality of the atmosphere. Presence determines the tone of translation. Presence determines what the 5 senses begin to report." Hill declared, "Peace of mind is the highest power. I concur with refinement. Presence is the power that shapes the state, and the state shapes appearance. Walk deeper into this reality literacy. When presence drifts, state fractures. When presence grows thin, translation becomes unstable. And when presence is reactive, appearance becomes chaotic. But when presence is still, state becomes clear, identity becomes strong, actuality becomes vivid, and appearance becomes aligned. Presence is the quiet operator behind every transformation. Presence is the silent architect behind every manifestation. Presence is the unmoving center in a physical world of movement. Consider this: you cannot be pulled by emotion when presence is anchored. You cannot be shaken by appearance when presence is thick. And you cannot be confused by contradiction when presence is steady. For presence is the still point where actuality holds you. So today, return to the still point within, strengthen presence, hold identity, stabilize subjective state. For presence governs the atmosphere, and the atmosphere governs appearance. Let me deepen this reality literacy further, widening your understanding of presence as the stabilizing center and strengthening how you operate from this still point. Presence is not an emotional calm, it is metaphysical steadiness. It is the awareness of actuality held without interruption. Presence does not fluctuate with mood, circumstance, or sensory changes. Presence remains. Hill hinted at this when he wrote, "Power grows from the mind that refuses to be disturbed." I concur with refinement. Presence is the self that cannot be disturbed because it stands in actuality. Wattles echoed the same principle. A poised mind is the foundation of right action. I concur with elevation. A poised presence is the foundation of right translation. Sense this expansion inwardly. Presence does not judge appearance, it governs it. Presence does not fear contradiction, it dissolves it. And presence does not chase solutions, it reveals them. When presence is strong, the atmosphere of your state becomes pure, unbroken, aligned with actuality. And when that atmosphere holds, translation becomes straightforward. Presence is not something you create, It is something you return to. The still point has always been there. You are simply reclaiming the seat of the self. The objective state shifts, sways, and reacts. But presence remains the unmoving reference point. From that stillness, identity is held and state is formed. Walk with this strength and clarity today. When you hold presence, you cannot be drawn into emotional turbulence. When you hold presence, you cannot be overwhelmed by sensory contradiction. And when you hold presence, the physical world cannot instruct your reality. Presence is the operator. Presence is the stabilizer. Presence is the metaphysical ground beneath every step. And from presence, the entire chain strengthens. Actuality, identity, presence, subjective state, appearance. Each link becomes straight when presence is held. So today, return again to the still point within. Let presence quiet the senses. Let presence thicken your state. Let presence reveal what actuality already contains, for presence is the doorway through which certainty enters the physical world. Affirmation. For day 32, my presence is steady. My presence shapes my state. My state aligns with actuality, and appearance follows the still point within me.